everybody to CEO Chat. My name is Al Cini.
I'm Joe Osamendi.
And this is Happy Hour on CEO Chat. And our guest is Sharon Geller. And Sharon, I'm going to bring us in. Well, when you say you're going to bring it in a certain way, you kind of screwed up right off the bat. So I need your help right off the bat.
Okay.
Joe and I often make jokes about how we went to high school with Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sharon Geller is Betsy Ross. Now, let's talk about some of the things you do, in particular the Betsy Ross reenactments that you do.
Well, I always like to talk about my life, and you know, there's a question about whether she really sewed the first American flag. I mean, we do know she was an excellent seamstress. I mean, I don't know whether it's really true or not that she sewed the first flag, but that's what we like to say. Anyway, so when I'm doing my little walk around in a presentation, I like to play a game called You Betsy Your Life. Okay. And I ask people questions about Betsy Ross, and if they answer correctly, they may win a valuable prize. The operative word being may. May win a valuable prize. Yeah, and so yeah, that's one of the things I do when I walk around.
Set expectations, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and let's talk specifically about that, because for people who are watching our program, if you've got an event coming up, you might be the head of an organization, a nonprofit, that stages an annual event or a quarterly event. You might be the owner of a business and you're thinking about our head to your holiday party.
Right.
Your job working with people like that is to create memorable events that include entertainment integrated into them. Isn't that right?
Exactly right. So first I find out what the theme is. And sometimes there's no theme. Sometimes they just want me to suggest. So we have everything at my company, SG Entertainment, from murder mysteries that have team building. Sometimes they just want, hey, Philadelphia's a theme. So I get them Rocky to do walk around, Betsy Ross, W.C. Fields, Benjamin Franklin. So all of these characters mix and mingle during a cocktail hour, let's say. Great. So it all depends. And then if it's the holiday time, you know, besides Santa Claus at parties, I have like magic elves, I have a nutcracker ballerina, and then of course I also have the spinning dreidel, which is redundant because that's what dreidels do. They spin. Right? So whatever
you always want to get a plug-in for that religion.
Exactly, right.
That's
we're
good.
Non-denominational.
That's good. That's very important.
So whatever it is, that's what we do. Yeah.
Good. Well, see, and that, Joe, that's the first connection I wanted to make is that if you want to create an event, well, that's easy. All we have to do is put something in a schedule. But if you want to create an event that people are talking about for years after the event, then Sharon Geller is the person you want to call. And later on in the program, you'll get to tell everybody how to reach you.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Great.
that's so important.
How did you get into this business?
Well, funny
you
should
going to
ask.
That but no, I'm glad you did. Go
You're
ahead.
both funny that you should ask.
It's good.
I actually used to be in the corporate world, believe it or not, for about 10 years. I was in medical public relations, and I was booking doctors on TV shows. I was writing press releases and public service announcements. I loved it when I started it. I hated it about 10 years later when I stopped it and had my little midlife crisis. And this is where you're supposed to say, well, you're way too young to have a midlife crisis.
You're
so
way too young to have a midlife
I'll wait.
crisis.
Thank you. Really, that's so unexpected.
Mandatory.
Yeah, and so like I just said, hey, life is short. I don't want to be 50 one day and say woulda, shoulda, coulda. So let me start doing what I love, which was acting, and let me stop doing what I don't longer like. So that's what I did in a nutshell. That's how I made the transition. And now 30 years later, I started out doing radio and TV commercials. I do industrials and corporate videos, acting in them.
Great.
Then my entertainment company took off, and so I provide other people with entertainment, mimes, magicians, stilt walkers, jugglers. And you know, every day is different, as I don't have to tell you, when you're self-employed and you're marketing yourself, you have to, you know, that's the job, market yourself.
Well.
So sometimes I'm marketing myself to do radio and TV commercials. Sometimes I'm marketing myself to do my program Improv for Lawyers, which I teach at Drexel Law School, and I do for the American Bar Association and the Pennsylvania Bar Institute and different law firms around the country. And sometimes I'm just, sometimes I have a minute and I'll just go, let me have a cup of coffee. I have 60 seconds before I have to market myself again.
Well, you're giving us several great 30 minutes. You're doing, and it's so great to have you on the program because this is an area of performance that a lot of executives don't pay very much attention to at all. It's not about trying to make people funny. I mean, you do workshops. In fact, I know you've got a couple coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I do. Actually, tomorrow I'm going to be in Narberth, Pennsylvania, a suburb of Philadelphia, doing a seminar on how to market yourself if you want to be a voiceover actor, which is to say do radio commercials or voiceovers for pharmaceutical companies. So the important things you need to know about that, marketing yourself and getting your name out there, putting together a voiceover demo. And then and that's at actually voiceoverboxvo.com. Voiceoverboxvo.com.
Okay.
Yeah, and if anybody is interested in that, they can actually call the number, which is 800-883-1716.
Okay, great.
And then on Sunday, I'm going to be in Medford, New Jersey, doing an improv workshop for Acting House Studios.com.
Okay.
And that, again, you can also call and find out more information. That's 609-451-5434. So that's a 4-hour workshop about how to think outside of the box and how to be more spontaneous and how to be a team player, even how to give presentations.
Great. Which is a subject that I kind of want to get into because, you know, when we had a chance to talk about this before on another RVN program called Breakfast with the Boss. And
Right.
something that you said then kind of resonated with me.
Right.
Nobody ever left a presentation saying, boy, that presentation was perfect.
Right.
What they left feeling good about wasn't necessarily that all the slides were perfect and there weren't any mistakes made.
Right.
They felt good about the energy that the presenter put into the topic. That's something you help people with.
Exactly, because I really and truly believe that life is about connection. People want to feel like they are connecting with you. So it's not important to be perfect, it's important to connect with people. The likability, in Hollywood they call it the likability quotient, you know, how much people can connect with you, or do they like you as a person. So this is about you being you. You have certain strengths you bring to the table. You have different strengths probably you bring to the table, although there might be a crossover. So this is about finding out who you are and bringing that strength to the table. So many times if I'm coaching a bunch of neuroscientists or accountants that are in fields that are an exact science,
Right.
you know, if they make a mistake, even off by a millimeter, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
So they think it's all about, oh, you don't make a mistake when you make a presentation. You have to be perfect. And it's never about
It's
that.
never about that. It's about engaging the audience
It's
and
always,
making
yeah.
that connection with the
Always.
audience is what you teach people to. You don't rewire them. You take
No.
their basic who they are.
Right.
You bring out the best in whoever they might be.
Exactly.
And you know, I want to make. We're taking a break. I want to make
Okay.
the point that you've got those two things. You work weekends, so this weekend you've got booked, and you mentioned those two events. But
Yes.
by going to your website, you'll tell everybody how to reach you later.
Yeah.
Sure.
They can learn more about other events you've got coming up.
That
So
would be great, yes.
We'll talk about that too. We'll be right back after these messages on a terrific CEO chat
Yep.
with a great guest, Sharon Geller.
Thanks.
You see the sign.
For an event.
Welcome back to CEO Chat. This guy's name is, I was going to say Alcini. Joe Asamendi.
It's Alcini. We can be a,
I know.
Oh, man.
Threw me off a little bit here. But our guest is Sharon Geller, and she's hilarious. And,
I'm not Joe, right?
you're
I'm
definitely
the other
not
one.
Joe. Definitely not. They're much easier on the eyes than Joe, I must say. But Sharon is an entertainer and a performer, and with corporate experience. And we're talking to her about how she can bring out the best in somebody and teach them to use their personalities in ways to engage with their audience and not just inform their audience.
Exactly.
And you used to. There's something we all have in common. About a week ago, we interviewed somebody who's the chef de cuisine, Ben Kenchminchik.
Yeah.
I think, and he wrote a book at Rock Center Cafe. You used to work at Rockefeller Center because you have some SNL experience in connection.
Yes,
So-
I'm lucky enough to have been on Saturday Night Live 4 times. Yeah, the last time I was on, we did a spoof of, remember when Kanye West, in real life, pulled
Yeah.
the award out
Yeah,
from Taylor
Oh,
Swift's
sure,
hand?
yeah,
So
yeah.
this was a spoof. This is right before Seth Meyers left to do his own late
Right.
night talk show. And he wrote this sketch and he directed it. And I have to say that Kanye West was a very good sport about making fun of the
I'll bet
fact
he
that
was,
he had
yeah.
snatched that away. Yes, so it was a little spoof. I played a Midwestern mom whose daughter had just won a pumpkin contest. And just as she was about to get the Blue Ribbon Award from the county mayor, Kanye West comes in and he goes, hell no. What's he going to say? Hell no. And he snatches it out of her hand.
Wow, that's
And
cool.
then, and so I was the mom. So that was a lot of fun.
No, that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
so she's got a lot of credentials. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I'm really ticked at Joe, because Joe was at the Rock Center Cafe yesterday, got the free lunch that I wanted to get.
Aw.
But it was a great connection. And,
You didn't bring him any food?
no, you sent a
he
picture.
sent me a picture.
He sent you a
He
picture.
sent me a picture of his
How
food.
did
I got
that
a
taste,
selfie.
Al? Was that good?
I was so irritated.
You know, hey, one of us has to do it. I mean,
Be that as it may.
Yes.
And I'm getting over it.
Well,
It's
well,
taking me a little
well,
while,
yeah,
but I'm
you-
gradually.
It's good.
gradually
Listen, it's
getting
just
over
good
it.
that you're not bitter. Yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
it's
bitter. I
important.
mean,
Okay, so
you threw a tomato when I came in this morning. Give me a break.
did. So I saw on Saturday. You mentioned on Saturday Night Live that you played Midwestern Mom.
Yes.
who won a blue ribbon, and Kanye West took the.
Yes.
You also do an Alaskan mom, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Maybe you can share that impression.
Yes, hello America, and hello to all the people from the great state of Cherry Hill. Yeah, well, it's a real pleasure to be here to talk right at you. You betcha. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so
that's great. You do impressions, and that was terrific. I
obviously
really
with the
like
wig and the thing, it is all about.
That was for those of you who might be wondering who that was Sarah Palin,
Right.
and it
I
was
was going to
terrific.
say Jimmy Cagney, but that's
Jimmy
okay.
Cagney.
No, I was going to say that was Jimmy.
great.
Yeah, so I do Sarah Palin, and I do a few other impressions, and basically it depends what people are looking for at their event. Sometimes it's a personal event, sometimes it's a corporate event. So whatever it is they need, whether it's an impersonator. I mean, I work with impersonators who do Cher, who do Joan Rivers, and you could swear that Joan Rivers just walked into the room.
Really?
Well-
She was actually Joan Rivers' favorite impersonator. So,
Oh, no kidding.
yeah, a lot of the people I work with are very top-notch. Yeah.
And that's an important point. You are a performer, and you
Yes.
understand what it takes to connect with an audience.
Yes.
So that's something you know well. But
Yes.
you're also a producer in the sense that if somebody wants an event pulled together, even if you're not directly participating, you'll find the talent,
Exactly.
organize the event, create the experience for people.
Exactly. Well, for the last 4 years, I've been in the national touring company of the off-Broadway hit Old Jews Telling Jokes.
Really?
And that
Yeah,
show is like a tribute, an homage, if you will, to the Borscht Belt, which
Right.
is that area in the Catskill Mountains where a lot of Jewish comedians came
Rosenberg's
out
all that
of.
place.
Yeah, Mel
Right.
Brooks and Woody
Yeah.
Allen and Robert Klein and Jackie Mason.
Right.
So it's a tribute to that. It's funny songs and funny jokes and really funny monologues.
Cohen.
So that's, you got it. So yeah, so that's what that's about. And I always love to perform, you know, that's my first
Sure,
love.
and that's
But everything that I do, I consider a part of performing. Everything that I do, whether it's coaching someone to present on camera, that is also a part of performing.
Right.
Or even putting together an event, because that has to be something that I would be proud to be at, you know? So
No, that's great.
Yeah.
And, well, that's important. I mean, if you want an event that people remember, then you've got to do something different than you might have done last year. And that something different doesn't have to cost a lot.
Right.
It could make a big difference, though, in the way people perceive the organization.
Sure.
Certainly, it'll make a big difference in how they remember that experience.
Oh,
That's,
there's no question about it.
And definitely Sharon Geller is the person to call for that. She's the person that could deliver the kind of experience you know will make a difference. And I think that's great. And you mentioned you work with lawyers.
Yes, I do.
Talk a little bit about your work with attorneys.
So it all started about 10 years ago when I put together a proposal for the dean of the law school at Drexel Law School, the Thomas R. Klein School of Law at Drexel University. And I said, I want to teach a class called Improv for Lawyers. And I started to explain to him the common bond between good communication skills and good improv skills. And he stops me and he says, you don't even have to convince me about the importance of this, because I used to be in an improv troupe, and I know exactly what you're talking about when you say good improv skills, good legal skills. He said, you have your own class. And then right before it started, he called me up and he said, this has never before happened at Drexel Law School, but your class just crashed our computer system.
Too many people want to be in it.
Yeah, right. Would you please teach 2 classes? And so I said, sure. And so for the last 10 years, I've been doing that. I also do CLEs, because you know every year a lawyer has to get 12 credits. So I do that for the American Bar Association, the Pennsylvania Bar Institute, and law firms around the country. I have a program I do for 2 hours. It's different than what I teach at Drexel Law School, but it's related. And it's called Improv for Lawyers, or sometimes I call it a funny thing happened on the way to arbitration. Yeah, it depends how we market it, but it's the same thing. It's good communication skills. 94% of all communication is nonverbal, so you have to
Okay,
wonder.
not 90, 94, not 93 or 96 or
94.
5.
I'm very
94%.
sad.
That's very important.
94%,
Very
and
precise
remember
about
that for the
I'm
quiz after the show.
Yeah, that's good.
So, you know, you're saying things to people with your eyes and the way you hold your hands that
Sure.
you might not be aware of. So what messages are you sending to people? So I use this for salespeople in the corporate world. I've done this for Berkshire Hathaway Realtors. I've done this for CertaPro Paints, Johnson & Johnson, and of course I do it for the American Bar Association, Pennsylvania Bar Institute, and because it's all, even if you're not a litigator, some people think, oh, I don't need these skills because I'm not in court talking, I'm not a litigator, I'm a one-person office. Who doesn't want to know how to think more quickly on their feet or think outside of the box?
Seriously, or how to change the subject with a client.
Right.
I mean, when you think about it, you're an attorney, and people come in, and they're generally very worked up about what it is they're talking to you
Right.
about. Until they can relax, they really can't communicate with you.
Exactly.
So there's a part of being an attorney that makes you an effective attorney, where you take somebody who's emotionally charged and change the subject in a way that calms them down.
Right, and that's getting back to connection, which is what public speaking is all about. It's connecting with your audience.
And that's, so you do this also for individuals?
Yes.
Somebody can hire you to work with them too? As a
Yes, I
kind of
do private coaching for executives, you know,
Great.
CEOs, and for lawyers, and yes.
Well,
I
we
gotta
need
get my
to,
attorney to talk to you. I mean, he's way off. He's up to
yeah, we need to, listen,
I will be happy
if
to.
you can teach Joe to be funny, you can teach anybody. We'll be right back after this break with more CEO chat.
Don't
Terrific
go
guest,
away.
Sharon
Don't go
Geller.
away.
Hate mornings. If it wasn't for my Starbucks double mocha frappuccino, I'd hate you. And mornings. With Claritin, get powerful non-drowsy relief from your worst allergy symptoms. Claritin is the only brand proven to keep you as alert and focused as someone without allergies. Hi, this is your mom. Well, not your mom, but someone's mom. I want to know why there aren't any bird's eye frozen entrees in your freezer. They're so easy to prepare and so good for you. Feeling guilty you don't have any bird's eye? Great, then I've done my job. You did. She didn't. I do. She should. Sephora. Look your best. No excuses. Take control of your financial future. Work with an Edward Jones financial advisor and see how we can help you. Visit edwardjones.com to find out more. I'm so intimidated by technology. That's why I got a Kindle Fire with built-in Mayday button. I just press and... Amazon support, this is Barbara. How can I help you? Life help. So awesome.
Get marked down for ugly. Welcome back. We just got
God.
A plus from Sharon. I said, we didn't get marked down for ugly, which is a real relief on my part.
No comment.
Welcome back to CEO Chat. My name is Alcini, and this is pretty boy Joe Asamendi. Sharon, during the break, we just watched a video that you brought, and
Yes.
maybe you can talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, that's actually my voiceover demo. So one of the things that I do are radio commercials and voiceovers, and that's like a 1-minute clip of different voices that I can do. Sometimes I do voices for cartoons or animation. Sometimes it's just a commercial, and sometimes it's a narration for like a pharmaceutical company. And that was an example of some of the spots that I've done and some of the, you know, so people can get a range of my voice if they want to hire me. What kind of a voice does she have? I classify it as warm and friendly, but I always say, you tell me what you need and I'm going to deliver that.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah,
Actually,
right.
there are different voices for different situations.
Oh, for sure. I mean, look, we have something in the industry called the voice of God. And that shortly is like Morgan Freeman. That's a good example of the
Morgan
voice of
Freeman,
God, right?
right.
So that's clearly not me. So I'm not going to present myself to somebody because that's not who I am. It's all about knowing who you are. That's how you market yourself. You have to know what your strengths are and what you bring to the table, whether it's giving a speech in public or doing a radio commercial. You don't want to present yourself as something that you're not.
Right.
Because if I tell people, oh, I'm the voice of God, and then I get into the studio and it's like, well, I thought she was the voice of
Wait a
God.
minute, where's
Right.
the voice of God? I think I'm
Exactly.
gonna bring the voice of God.
So I do things that other people
Right.
can't do, and other people do things that I can't do. So that we have to know who we are when we market ourselves, because that's part of giving a strong presentation.
Yeah, that's key. And so people watching the program might have agencies. I mean, in that case, maybe you'd work with an agency who's making a commercial.
Yes.
Or more and more these days, people are producing pieces in-house to talk
Yes.
about products or services.
Oh, yes.
And they might need a voice. And
Exactly.
they can contact you. And if you're not the right voice, you know people who could be.
Oh, yes,
So
probably
that's
do.
important.
Yeah.
I mean, and then the voiceover often can't be the person who owns the company. It often needs to be somebody who has a
Sure.
voice that's more in line with what they're trying to sell.
Sure, because I always like to look at a commercial. It's really no different than a 2-hour play or a half-hour sitcom or an hour-long drama. I know people don't think of it like this, but a 15-second commercial has all of the ingredients that a 2-hour play has. You have to know who your character is. Why are you saying the things you're saying? There's a reason why every word is on that script.
Right.
And you have to know what to punch and what not to punch. Because if everything is important, then it just becomes a
Then
bunch of
nothing's
white
important.
noise.
That is
Right,
so
nothing is
that's
important.
so critical.
So you have to
That's
know
so
what to punch and what to hold back on. And that's part of interpreting copy.
Well, and also sometimes when you get somebody in from the outside who has done this before, they can help you. You're so tied up with what it is you built.
Right.
That you really don't understand what it is a customer needs to know about it.
Right. It's
Because
having,
you feel like you got to tell them all the things that are in your head. But
Exactly.
Sometimes, just as an advocate for the client who might be buying the product or the service, you can really help out with that. And
Exactly. And I've been presenting as a guest host on QVC for 14 years. I'm in the accessories category. When a client gives me a product, I have a conversation with him or her, and I always ask them this: what are the 3 most important things you want me to know about this product? Because I feel like if I'm not on QVC for longer than 5 minutes or 6 minutes, whatever that sell is, I
Right.
want to make sure that the 3 most
Those
important
3 things have to come out.
out.
Products to be
Yeah,
done.
right.
Yeah, and it's QVC, they call it a dance. You know, what if I'm on with the host and I'm the guest host and I memorized A, B, and C, and you start with, tell us about B. Well, I have to improvise and go to
Right.
B. I'm not going to say to you, I'm not ready to talk about that. Let's talk about A first, right? I'm going to dance with you and just follow your lead. And that's part of QVC as well. You know, so it's knowing what you want to say. Who is your audience? Who are you talking to? That's part of what you need to know when you're giving a talk in person or when you're doing a QVC presentation.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. You got 1 minute to teach him to be funny. Go.
Okay, so here's a joke I'm going to teach you, and then you're going to say it, right?
Okay.
100-year-old Sophie yells down to her 100-year-old husband, Max, Max, come upstairs and let's have sex. And Max yells back, make up your mind, I can't do both. Go.
100-year-old Sophie yells down to her husband, 100-year-old Max, Max, climb up the stairs and let's make love. And he says, I forgot, no.
Never mind, that's good.
You forgot how to make love, or you forgot the joke? I don't know what you forgot.
Here's the thing.
Well, yeah.
I'll give you an A+. Because I'm being
I
generous.
can't do both.
There you go.
Oh, look, you did.
You got it. You
Yay.
Okay, now listen, we're coming up on
Yes.
that part of the program where you get to tell everybody to call you. But I
Right.
want to make the point before
Yes.
you do that.
Yes.
It is not a weakness to call somebody like Sharon Geller. It's a strength.
Right.
There could be things about you, I'm sure you're great, but there could be a few things about you that could be made even better by creating a business relationship with Sharon and learning about what she knows, because I think bringing out the best in people is really the business you're in.
You're right, and sometimes Al, and Joe, you don't know what you don't know. It's like you might be an expert here, but you're not an expert here, and nobody sees themselves the way other people see them. So it's very important, and it's very valuable to have another eye there to say, oh, should I do this? I never thought about doing this. Well, why would you? That's not your area
That's
of
not what you do.
expertise,
That's
right?
where
That's
you
not
need-
what you do.
that's
So that's
you
where
need
I
help.
come in. Yeah,
Help to get you out of your comfort zone into a new zone that could be a much better performance zone.
exactly.
Tell everybody how to reach you, Sharon.
Great. So if you're interested in my company, SG Entertainment, please feel free to call me at 215-629-1615, or just look me up, SharonGeller.com. If you would like to join us tomorrow, is that okay if I
Sure,
plug
absolutely.
our voiceover seminar? That's in Narberth, Pennsylvania, and that's at voiceboxvo.com. 800-883-1716. And if you want to join us in Medford, New Jersey on Sunday, where I'm doing a comedy improv workshop, it's actinghousestudios.com. That's 609-453-5434. So I hope to see you either Saturday or Sunday. And please feel free to join my class at the Walnut Street Theater in Philadelphia, which I teach 3 times a year. It's an 8-week class in comedy improv. And you can call the Walnut at 215-574-3550, extension 510.
That's terrific.
I'm
Great.
going to the Walnut.
And there's all my numbers, except I didn't give you my real phone number, which is I81U812.
I'll
It's been a
remember that.
pleasure.
Sharon, thanks for
Sharon.
making me a
appreciate
star. I
that. What a
appreciate it.
pleasure.
Oh, you are easy. You are easy to
And
do that for.
thanks all of you for joining us on this terrific CEO Chat with Sharon Geller. We'll be back again next week with more CEO Chat. Until then, I'm Alcini.
I'm still Joe Osman.
And you're Sadie. Are you Sadie upstairs?
I'm not Max.
Yeah, but you're Max.
Yeah,
You're
you know.
Max.
Met
And-
somebody.
Make up your mind.
I know. I can't.
I can't do both.
I can't do both.
See, you're already funny.
Well,
We'll be back.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you. My pleasure.
See you again soon. Thanks very much.